What is up, everybody? Solomon, super excited to be down at Consensus. Amazingly excited to be with Patches, the man, the myth, the legend. This is the first time I think face-to-face that Patches has ever presented himself to the screen, to all of you, maybe even. I know we've seen some videos before. We are both musicians, so we are at South Austin Music as well, and glad to be down here with Genfinity. I normally do the most ridiculous introductions for you ever. To give you guys a little bit of insight about what Patches is facilitating, though, in the Web3 space, I am going to let Patches give his own introduction today across Turtle Moon, the interesting rebrand you guys just had, as well as HGRAPH Punks. And yeah, go ahead, maybe a little intro of yourself and a background of what you do in the space.
Absolutely, yeah. It's amazing to meet Solomon in real life. I really did expect a steer in a business suit, so I'm pleasantly surprised. I've been building on Hedera for around 2 years now, and our companies, Turtle Moon and HGRAPH Punks and HGRAPH.io, which is now HGRAPH, have been doing a lot in the ecosystem to try to build Web 2 experiences utilizing Web 3 so that we can bring value to consumers where they are. They can get the benefits of Web 3, but the complexity of all of it is subsided and it falls away. And we chose Hedera because we believe the fundamentals of the network provide the ability for people like us to create that utility and that value for those users. So we started 2 years ago, set up shop, we created the first open source minting tools, desktop platform, no code needed, Mac, Windows, Linux, you could download a desktop app. Created the launch pad, launched some great projects like Dead Pixels, HGRAPH Punks, Hangry Barboons. Started creating services platforms, so we have NFT auctions, which we did for charity. 1 year got to raise $11,000 for women and children's charity in Dallas, which was great. It was a whole network event. Everyone came together on Hedera. We did first token gated votes with our other project Moonshells, who do alpha and beta testing for Turtle Moon. And then after all of that, and we were deep in that, we realized that getting information from the mainnet was difficult for what we were trying to do. So we built HGRAPH.io, which again is now just HGRAPH. And that is a much better method of getting data off of the Hedera mainnet. One of our first customers was Swirls Labs itself. So we gave them some really cool information on their own mainnet. And we're taking that even further with this HGRAPH rebrand. We created, and at this Consensus, we partnered with Hashpack and created a demo that shows the creation of a wallet. The creation, you get an NFT sent to it, you get points that are deduced on Hedera Consensus service, which super convoluted, but the point is that it's an immutable point assigned to that user without it being a fungible token. They use those to buy coffee, and this all happens within 40 seconds. So a user that is, let's just say my mom, can go, she can put in her email, and she can get a non-custodial wallet. She can get an NFT that's a loyalty thing, loyalty card. She can go and use that loyalty card, and those points are immutable. And then if she wanted to, she could go sign the Hashpack with that same email address, sell that NFT on the secondary market. So non-custodial. So that's kind of what we're doing. And then this HGRAPH.io to HGRAPH rebrand is that we were really focused on making cool developer tools to then target developers, and we're still doing that. But the HGRAPH rebrand is we're now doing enterprise consultant, so that we saw a disconnect of people from enterprise understanding how to engage Hedera. And then when we say it's not a blockchain, you just got to start the conversation over. And we've had a much better conversation and value add understanding when we say, hey, what do you need? What are your problems? We can build a solution for you that uses all of our awesome developer tools we've created, that's curated to your purpose. And we've seen a lot of, just in the last 2 months, a lot of good advancement on that. So again, that's what we're here to do. We want to make Web3 easy. And if it's really, really good, no one has any idea what network it's on.
I think it's been such a concise kind of answer across the entire spectrum, and congratulations on the rebrand. Would love to, hear your thoughts around and maybe some advice, because you are certainly one of the preeminent builders, and I would even argue in multiple networks, not just Hedera. I mean, when I think of people that are really building in the space and developers that are really putting the work in, that deserve everything that comes to them in this space in a positive light, you certainly, you fit that ticket perfectly. What would you, if you had to kind of give advice, or for anybody that's new coming into the space that wants to either build or that wants to explore, what would your main advice be? And especially even bringing that into the Hedera forum as well. Like, what would you recommend for people to do that are trying to come into Hedera, or would you suggest like for people to do potentially that want to build in this space? Being that you've went through a lot of it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, 2 years ago to now, Hedera's changed a lot, and there's a lot more infrastructure. I would definitely say go to the Hedera Discord and join that. It's a really good community space. They're revamping that from the Hedera level, and there's a lot of centric channels that you can ask specific questions, get specific answers. So that'd be a really good entry point if you're Hedera curious.
Sure.
And then if you're looking for development, and I think in any network in Web3, you should probably be engaged in the community or understand the community's ethos, because that's where you're gonna have to play inside. So I would start following bigger influencers inside of Hedera, and then just kind of understand, what are you trying to build? Where would you place in it? And it's a uniquely very open community. So I know my DMs are always open for new users or new developers that are coming in, and a lot of the community is open to helping onboard and show how to engage the network. So last thing, if you're a developer, documentation. Go to the Hedera docs. But again, you could get probably a better start if you go into that specific channel in Discord and get some advice on what is the best package for me for what I'm trying to do.
100%. And I mean, along with the rebrand, you alluded to it, obviously you guys are doing advisory aspects and kind of working with potentially a lot of pans, that are getting heated up right now that might not have been publicly announced yet. Yeah. So I would like to ask, what are you most excited about from the HGRAPH standpoint moving forward into 2023? And maybe I know that you can't talk about what relationships you're making with some of these potential enterprises or clients, but if you could allude to what that would represent, what types of things you might be tying into the HGRAPH HGRAPH ecosystem, bringing them into Hedera, and what services and what roles, specifically from an advisory services or from a service standpoint in general, you're going to be providing to some of these potential clients that you guys onboard.
Yeah, it's we're again, it's the. A lot of enterprises want to get into Web3. What does that mean? They don't know. They know there's value there, but they don't know how. And so I think it's the explanation of how you lower costs by using a decentralized database instead of a centralized database. How do you reduce, or how you increase customer acquisition and then also retention, because you're giving them more value by a digital ownership of their asset. And like all of these buzzwords make sense to them in corporate meetings with like, yes. But then tangibly, they're like, okay, like go do that. And they're like, I don't know. And that's where we want to come in as HGRAPH. It's like, you can come to us and we'll give you consultancy. We build on Hedera because it is the most efficient network for enterprise, for scale, for speed, for green. And then I guess I'm going to continue because you have two questions in there as always.
Always.
And the thing I'm excited about isn't specifically that section of it, but HGRAPH and the ecosystem that we've built was purposeful. So we have HGRAPH Punk's NFT project, we have Turtle Moon NFT services platform, and just the NFT services platform, and then we have HGRAPH, which is like the underlying backend part, and all of these work together to test things in production to make them good, so that we can have customers that come in and use HGRAPH. And what we're really excited, I think topical in a guitar shop, is that in about 2 weeks we're going to release the music NFT portion of Turtle Moon. And so we're going to be releasing my single, that's Patches.
Wow.
It's going to be an NFT. There's going to be 50 deluxe and 5,000 regular singles, I believe. The idea is to show how we can create a platform that is intrinsic on both the NFT culture and how it works, and allowing consumers of that music to interact with that on an intimate level through exclusive content, which makes sense, but innovative ways of the customer and the listener and the creator, the musician, that aren't really able to happen other than Web3. And so we're building out tools and means to do that, testing in production with our platform. And then I'm just really excited to get into music, as I've been a musician more than I have in my life. And I do see that Hedera is the solution to Web3 music.
Yeah.
HIP 412 is uniquely positioned to have an entire album just on one NFT. Any musician with $76 can mint 10,000 of their music and can distribute it readily. It's positioned to have the lower barrier of entry for anyone from any means to enter it, and anyone who is a listener could enter it. And that's imperative, because the most creative people are kind of being boxed out in certain price points, and that shouldn't be the case if we're truly decentralized and interconnecting as we know this technology can do.
I should also say, I know NFT services through Turtle Moon, also native DeFi aspects that you guys have built kind of since the inception, and really kind of testing out newer DeFi initiatives within the Hedera ecosystem has been one of the things that you guys have really done in the form of really kind of fun and interesting NFT shaped ways, but building out services that are going to be used by enterprises down the line and all sorts of different initiatives within the Hedera ecosystem. Honestly, a little bit amazing to say that, you know, it's just so great to be able to meet some of these individuals in real life. And Patch is certainly one of the individuals that I certainly respect, that Genfinity has had the pleasure to bring on to multiple cross-chain spaces, and looking forward to doing more as well. Such an honor, Patches, and congrats on the rebrand with HGRAPH, and congrats on everything moving forward. Looking forward to the album, bro, and I think that's great. And we're going to...
So, one more thing.
Oh, go ahead. Awesome interview. Thank you, guys.